The NBA season may be having some problems in terms of postponing games, but it's also showing off some of the big talent that might make this season special in spite of that, including everyone's favorite new player, Zion Williamson. While last year was his rookie season, he didn't get to play much because of injuries and the pandemic. So this is his first full season, and he seems to be making the most of it. And with that and the fame he has, you might wonder what his life is like. So, allow us to show you the lifestyle and net worth of Zion Williamson. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. Net worth. Let's start off with some of the more basic things, shall we? What is the net worth of Zion Williamson right now? Well, most would say it's between $8 to $10 million. How they come up with that number? That would be because he was the number 1 draft pick in the NBA when he arrived before last season in 2019, and as a result of that, he got a $40 million contract, with him getting about $10 million per year. That's pretty impressive. So since he's technically completed a year, he's already gotten that money. Now, as many of you likely know, your net worth is not the money you have, but the money you're worth overall. So if you were to sell everything you have right now, what would your net worth be, basically? Zion, no doubt, has more money than that for a very basic reason. He's a hot commodity in the NBA. He's one of the biggest young stars, literally and figuratively, in the NBA, and people see him as the next superstar. Due to that, as we'll show you later, he has a lot of people wanting to hire him for things like endorsement deals and contracts. Thus, he has a lot more money coming his way, and his net worth will grow every year. But for now, he's worth about $8 to $10 million, and that's not bad for a player in the second year of the league. Number 6. Early life. To understand his lifestyle right now, you need to understand where the man came from and how his parents helped influence his life in a big way. Zion was born in Salisbury, North Carolina, as the son of Lateef Williamson and Sharonda Sampson. Zion's father was a defensive lineman committed to North Carolina State before attending Livingstone College, where he met Zion's mother, a track star at the school. After Zion's parents divorced, his mother married former Clemson basketball player Lee Anderson, who was instrumental in developing Zion's skills in the court. So, as you can see, he's not only had the genetic legacy of an athlete, he had the right people training him to be a star. But he worked hard himself as well. He told his mother he wanted to be the best in the country when he was just 5. By 9, he was already busting his butt in basketball training to make sure that he was as sharp as he could be. There's little wonder why he was so good by the time he made it to high school and college. He had already put in the hours to make sure he could do everything he needed in order to dominate. Number 5. Shoe contract. A key thing to remember when it comes to sports players is that while their gaming contract is a key part of their livelihood, so too are their endorsement deals. NBA players especially try and get major shoe deals that can arguably keep them paid for the rest of their lives depending on how good their line is. See Air Jordan. Which brings us to Zion, who not only signed a shoe deal with his rookie season, but signed it with Michael Jordan's brand. And they paid $75 million to get him to sign to them. That was a huge deal and a record breaker, which means if he does indeed get all the money from his 2 major contracts, he's already worth over $100 million. And as noted earlier, his net worth will skyrocket because of this and other deals. Number 4. Mansion. When you get drafted into a major sports team, one of the things you have to do, if you know you'll be there for a while, is get a place to live. There were many rumors about what Zion would buy when he went to New Orleans, and as such, not 1 but 2 different mansions were rumored to be gotten by him. One of them costs around $850,000, and the other was a whopping $950,000. Each mansion has a lot of space for Zion to move around in, and one even had a Batman mural. Either way, these mansions were top-notch and top price. But what does this say about him? Simple. It shows that while he does appreciate certain things, he's not afraid to go and spend big in order to get something he likes, which is a trait many NBA players have, and some go a little too far with. But for Zion, he seems to be a more balanced individual, as he's not known for a slew of big purchases, just the occasional big one. Number 3. Humility. If you don't believe us when we say that Zion is something else in terms of his lifestyle and personality, then listen to some quotes from him. They reveal a lot about him. "I was sitting in rookie forward Kevin Knox's locker. I saw former Knicks superstar Kristaps Porzingis' locker right when I walked in. But out of respect for him, he's a very great player and hopefully I can get to that level. He's an MVP caliber player." That right there shows a lot, because at times, there are plenty of rookies who don't go and pay respect to their veteran teammates. They instead are focused on their own glory and nothing else. But with Zion, though Kristaps wasn't his teammate, he respected the skill he had, and he aims to work hard to get to his level so he can be a true MVP. This also applied to his college career. "Coming up, we understood that we're good, but freshmen don't really win the national championship. You always need veteran support. So just learn from them. We take in everything we can." Which is almost prophetic in certain ways, because his 1 year at Duke didn't go the way that many people expected, including a now famous injury, as well as not winning the title in the NCAA tournament. But that didn't deter him from wanting to be the best. Number 2. Training. When you look at Zion Williamson, it's easy to go and to look at his abilities and freakish height and think he was born this way. But ironically, he was not. In fact, he was a little short when he first started playing basketball, and as such, he was trained by his parents to be a guard when he was training for basketball. And they pushed him hard to make sure he had the skill to do that role. The extra work on ball handling, passing, and court vision proved beneficial for Williamson after a while, especially after he grew from 5'9" to 6'6" between the 8th and 10th grade. This growth spurt transformed Williamson from an above-average, hard-working player into a once-in-a-generation talent that is being praised all the time, especially now that he's playing a lot more games in his second season to start than he did with his first. Williamson had grown to 6'3" prior to his freshman season at Spartanburg Day School in Spartanburg, South Carolina. But there was one problem. He still couldn't dunk. So, the 14-year-old Williamson spent his summer in the gym, working hours on end to improve his jumping ability. Eventually, it all clicked for Williamson when he tried to throw himself an alley-oop off the backboard. This setup allowed him to clear his mind and finally reach the rim. The rest is history. Fast forward to now, and Zion is dominating in his position and impressing everyone. But he also acknowledges that he won't be doing bells-to-bells games. That's just not likely or probable given his potential for injury and how the team plays. He's fine with that, but he'll be training to make sure that when he's on the court, he'll go and do the best he can for his team. Number 1. His Jeep Wrangler. Come on, how could we not end this story about his first NBA car? When he truly made it into the NBA, Zion went and bought himself a 2019 Jeep Wrangler, which may not seem impressive at first, but that Jeep cost him $50,000. But that wasn't the end of it, because he was actually a bit unsatisfied with how the ride stood as is. So, he went to a shop and had it customized for him. He did new interior additions, custom paint jobs, and rims, and so on. By the time he was done, he spent almost $70,000 on this Jeep. That might seem a bit excessive, but when it's your first pro car and it doesn't fit your needs, you spend the money to make it fit your needs. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Zion Williamson and how he handles himself and his money? Were you surprised by his net worth? Do you understand why it's not as low as is indicated? What about what he does with his money or how he lives his life? Were you surprised by that? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.